I live in the city on about a 500 square metre block. What's the right kind of duck for me?
And and if you're looking for something the kiddies look after or you like them, there's a couple of ducks that come into it because the mallards are a great little bird. They'll hatch their own ducklings, and you could have 4 or 5 mallards on that size block there, like little females and a drake, and they'll breed themselves, rear the ducklings up, as long as you don't keep them for too long and get too many ducks running around, because you don't want to, where they get damp areas or get a bit smelly. And you need to consider the colour. If you're going to have a natural colour one, which are mallards where they're brown, or if you get white birds, you always got to remember the white feathers stand out more if you've got a nice green lawn and you're a tidy fanatic and you don't like you look as though paper's been dropped around in the moulding season. But other than that, the rest of the year they're fine. You won't notice them about the yard. So you can go the mallard, you can go 2 or 3 Indian runner females and a drake. They're a nice light small bird. There's a number of birds you'd need to sort of get in touch with an established breeder and and give them an idea, and they could recommend some birds for you, because there's unlimited birds, small ones. You don't want to get something like a call duck that's going to be very noisy. They load a lot of quacking. And the other duck, the Muscovy, you won't know you got them. They're nice and quiet. And as long as you keep your pens clean and tidy and your housing comes into it, then how you're going to house the birds and easy to clean.
And what about the Peking?
The Pekins are a great little duck for the kiddies. They're the most common ones about, easy to get hold of. They're white, but they mainly only come in the white colour, and they're good little kids duck. They're a bit dumpier. So if you like the dumpy looking duck, they only grow about not even a foot high sort of thing, and that they stand up, and the kiddies like to handle those. And there's a Pekin Aylesbury cross there, most of the ones you'll see that the commercial farms use, and quite often people will get them as babies and then they don't want them when they grow up, but they're a great kids duck as well, the Pekins. It's really personal preference what you like, what type of duck. You need to look at some photos.
And what are the advantages of having a duck around?
All right, then it comes into what duck's suitable for you. Now, if you're light cooking, and there's a couple of things there. You've got a bird that's going to produce you quite a few eggs for cooking cakes. The duck eggs are one of the best eggs to use in cooking cakes, and most of the people that win at the shows, they'll be using duck eggs, for their cake cooking. The Indian runners, again, they're a lighter breed if you're not into eating duck so much, but they still got a reasonable amount of meat on them if you want them. They're a great egg layer. They'll lay more eggs again than the Pekins, but both those birds lay well. And if you want some ducks to keep the snails out of the garden, something the kids can feed, and a little bit of responsibility.
And plenty of eggs.
And plenty of eggs, yeah. But they don't breed well themselves for hatching babies, those two breeds, yeah.
But if we're not breeding, so we're not breeding them, we're just in the city. So if I just want a couple of ducks running around that are going to produce a lot of eggs, then they'd be 2 ideal birds, the Indian runner and the Pekin duck. They're white birds. If you're wanting a dark coloured bird that's going to produce you a lot of eggs and still a nice light little bird and easy to handle, is the Khaki Campbell. They're great little egg laying machines, and they're a chocolate colour, or khaki I suppose is the right word, but and if the feathers, when they're molting and that, you won't see the feathers around the yards, and a great bird, good natured bird. All those birds are good natured. The Indian runner is probably the most stressful ones for them. And so they're quite friendly, are they?
Yeah, khakis are very friendly. If you want a real gentle one, of course, the Ruins, they just move around. They won't lay as many eggs, but a great slow-moving bird that just moves around the yard, doesn't stress out, and that with the kids it'll wander around. They're a good bird, and they'll lay you 30 eggs a year or more, so I think, especially if you're feeding them good feed.
And so how many eggs would the Indian runner or the Peking lay?
Those birds, they'll lay you up. They wouldn't have too much trouble if you got, and it all comes down to how you look after the birds. If they've got good, healthy conditions, you'd certainly have not much trouble getting 80, 100 eggs out of those birds, fed well.
A year?
A year, yeah.
And what would I need to set up the yard for them?
Well, if you already got, first thing you obviously want it dog-proof, or you don't want animals that are going to get in and kill your birds. And so if you've got a paling fence or the Colorbond fences and it goes right to the ground, so you don't want the next door neighbour's dog digging in and killing your birds. And that's another thing, if you've got a dog, you've got to see what the dog's like with the pet too, otherwise you're going to have problems. Setting up, you need to go onto some sites. You can get great little cages already made that you can get from your local produce stores or pet barns, things that, like from those big things, they have little hutches that they can get in. You can move them around the yard if it gets a bit soiled. Some of them are on wheels. Otherwise, if you're going to build something yourself, with your ducks, so instead of having them on the ground, if you get a lot of wet weather, it's probably preferably to put a little bit of a slatted plastic floor down so you can get them off the ground so it doesn't sort of bog up. And those, you can buy those slats from, again, we'll have some things on the site perhaps where you can get them where you can do a flooring, and every now and again you can just pop that flooring up and clean out under it.
Great. And do they need something to swim in?
If you're going to have ducks, and that, I mean, what's a duck without a pond? And that you need. They don't need to. If you've got something, as long as they can submerge their heads, so wash their eyes, they've got to be able to wash their nostrils and their eyes, and that. But if you want your birds looking spick all the time, and they don't have to have the pond there all the time, you can go along to Bunnings or one of those places and get one of those clam shells they use for little sand pits for the kids. Fill it up with water, and the ducks will have a great time in that. And then when you finish, just empty it out onto the lawn. And they just need a good trough where their little house they live in and that, where they can get fresh water day and night, the ducks.
Great. And do they need much sun and shade?
All animals need sun and shade. In the real hot weather, they certainly want preferably a nice shady tree. If you're going to let them wander in the yard, or a vine, a grape vine or passion fruit vine, a good shaded area in the heat of the day if you're in a hot climate. And a bit of sun is always, they get the vitamins from the sun, so you don't want to keep them in a completely dark area. And that's so they're pretty reasonable with their sun and shade. So I think they certainly need a certain amount of sun running around in the sun, and good shade on the hot days.